Welcome to Resting Binge Face, where two friends binge watch seasons of TV shows and we talk about it. I'm Adam McCoy.
And I'm Amanda Kathleen. Adam and I work in TV. We watch a lot of TV. If we were oppressed, Kathleen, we would be fighting the Skeksis for the freedom to watch TV.
Yes.
That was a mouthful.
That was a lot.
And as complicated as that setup was, we're watching as a complicated show as Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, Season 1.
From Netflix.
Based on Dark Crystal, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a child of puppetry, if your
parents are puppets.
If you like to watch puppetry, like Labyrinth or Sesame Street, you may have watched Dark Crystal.
Yes, you probably did. Well, if you're a child over the age of 30 now.
Right.
I mean, my kids have never seen it.
No.
A lot of younger kids. This will be like a whole new life for Dark Crystal.
Yeah,
for kids.
It's like a rebrand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, breathe a little life into it. There's CGI now.
Yeah.
So
those tongues actually move when they talk.
You know. Adam, do you have some knowledge to drop on Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance?
I do. I feel a little overwhelmed though, and that maybe we should have shifted the power this week, because you are a huge Dark Crystal fan.
I'm not a huge Dark Crystal fan. I like it.
So
as much as I like Labyrinth.
Okay.
I might like Labyrinth more. But
you're a puppet fan.
I am.
So this is more your wheelhouse than mine. But so yes, it is a prequel to the 1982 Jim Henson classic, The Dark Crystal. This was actually originally conceived as a feature-length sequel to The Dark Crystal. Director Louis Leterrier, he's a French guy. He wanted to do this in 2012 after he released Clash of the Titans. He's like, this will be the next big thing. He was trying to get studios interested in it.
So he's been on board that long ago.
From 2012.
Wow.
And nobody would back him up. They're like, no. He said that they wanted to make movies like Transformers, not Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
And then he said, and many executives had never heard of the Dark Crystal, which I don't believe.
Come on.
I'm like,
well, maybe.
Executives, though?
Well, he's French. Maybe some
French,
people in France.
Everyone in America.
I don't know.
Anyway,
maybe.
He said that they didn't even know what it was. So it was during this time where nobody was listening to him that he said, well, why don't we make a prequel rather than a sequel?
Right.
Because there's so much rich story before the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like the land of the Gelflings, like we didn't see it in its prime, all this kind of stuff.
There's a lot of info, that they don't touch on in the movie.
And when you watch the movie, you're like, maybe they should have touched on it a little bit more. But so that's when he's like, no, let's switch it over to a prequel.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, they were actually going to make it an animated prequel.
Oh, okay.
And they went to Netflix, pitching this as an animated prequel. And the studio heads at Netflix were like, well, can you make it live, like a real puppet live action?
It was?
Like, yeah, sure.
If that's what you want.
So they did a test in 2016 with a real Skeksy puppet and CGI Gelfling. That was their test. And everyone liked it. So they said, sure. And then they made it.
Wow.
It's been a long time coming because the original was so old.
Well, thank God Netflix said, can you make it puppets?
Yeah, I mean, they were doing cartoons. They've done a lot of cartoons to other movies. I'm glad they didn't go that route with this.
No,
it's a totally different thing, right? They're still not word whether there'll be a season 2.
Oh, okay.
The creators are all on board. They already have a whole thing in mind. Yes.
Which, because it's called Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. So I'm like, is this second season going to be called Age of Resistance, or will it be called something else geared towards that season?
Well, I'm sure it'll be something else on the next path, because the resistance is over.
Right. So like they're fighting. It's war now. Who knows?
And then the only other thing that I am going to share today was my two favorite characters that came out in episode 7. It was the Mystic, the Wanderer, and the Heretic. So
I was waiting for that. I knew you were gonna like that.
Well, they, according to one of the writers, Jeffrey Addis, those two characters are based on Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yes.
So one of them's on uppers the entire time, and one of them's on downers.
I mean, it makes sense. Well,
and it's like
the Mystics are very laid back anyway, so it makes sense for them to do that.
And then, but I thought that was a great little side bit. There's, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. That's what we'll do.
But also, the main side bit should be Andy Samberg plays the Skeksis Heretic, and Bill Hader plays
the
Mystic, and they're bouncing off of each other.
And Andy Samberg, I couldn't quite tell it was him when I first heard it.
I can't tell it's Bill Hader
He has a
either.
very Frank Oz voice. Like he has that kind of, growl to his voice. And then Bill Hader, though, he can do any voice. So.
Yeah, he can do anything.
But when I saw that, I'm like, that's who did it. That's hilarious.
I knew you were going to like that. I knew who did it. And I was like, Adam's going to really like that episode.
And then there's just so much more information about the world that I will not spout now.
Okay. Well, Adam's done dropping knowledge. Here's your spoiler warning. It's on Netflix. Go watch Dark Crystal. If you don't like fantasy, and you definitely did not watch Game of Thrones, I would say you probably don't want to watch.
Yeah, don't watch it.
Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance. Give it a go. If not, watch the movie. You don't have to watch the whole thing.
If you're into simplistic plot lines,
right,
don't watch it. If you don't like keeping track of random characters, don't watch it.
If you'd rather just watch David Bowie, you could watch Labyrinth.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's that. Okay. Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, Season 1 overview. This is as simple of an overview as I could figure out.
Okay.
So I think it does the job. It's a very complicated story.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. But it's very hard to follow. Okay. Overview. The Skeksis are technically aliens from another planet that have landed on Thra and have discovered a great source of power, the crystal. They have decided to use the crystal of Thra for longevity, and in doing so, corrupt the crystal and make it now the Dark Crystal. Since corrupting the crystal, all of Thra has now come to a point where the world is dying and is created the Darkening. The Gelfling who inhabit Thra as its native race are suffering from it, and it is up to 3 heroic Gelfling to stop the Skeksis and the Darkening from happening. That's technically the whole season.
There you go, yeah. Mm-hmm. And adventures are had throughout.
Adventures are had.
Giant spiders.
Yeah.
Mind control.
It's a very woven story.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting. I said it. If you like Game of Thrones type fantasy storytelling.
I actually equate this more to Lord of the Rings. I've had a very strong Lord of the Rings feel. Fellowship of the Rings.
It does.
They're bringing all these people. Even the way some of the scenes were shot or CGI'd, I guess, had a very Lord of the Rings feel, which I enjoyed.
Yeah. It could literally be a book.
Mm-hmm.
Like it has a very nice plot.
Yes.
Very interesting story. It could literally be a book. Like you're watching a book.
I wonder what they have. They've done comic books, and I think they maybe had a novel.
Have a novel.
They've done a lot, but not like a full-blown book series.
Right.
So
they could.
It could definitely hold up.
So your main characters are Rian, who is a Gelfling.
Mm-hmm.
He's from the Stonewood clan. He is part of the 3 heroic ones. He watches his girlfriend Mira
perish.
Yes. Perish from the Skeksis, sucking her soul from the crystal for their longevity power. Then we have Princess Brea, who is from the Vapra clan. She's also a Gelfling. She's the 2nd heroic one.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 heroes are part of
a band, a fellowship.
I would say more of they were destined to do this. And then the 3rd one is Deet.
Aw, you're not including Hup in this?
No.
He's not a Gelfling.
He's not a Gelfling.
Yes, Deet.
I have Hup down on my list of characters.
Deet is the cave dweller.
Deet is a cave dweller. She's got
wings.
the crazy black eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And she's white looking. She needs a little tan, I guess.
She's like those lizards that are underground. Their eyes get bigger, their skin gets pale.
Yeah.
They don't come up and see the
light. She hasn't been outside.
Yeah.
So she's the 3rd Gelfling to help win over Thra from the Skeksis. And Princess Brea also has 2 sisters, Tavra, who is like a leader, military leader, and Celadon, who is the oldest, and she's going to replace their mother when she's not.
She's in line, yes.
But Celadon is a bitch.
Raging bitch. Anyways, moving on. Agra, who's from the movie, is the keeper of the secrets and the crystal. She's a very wise old woman who knows basically everything. She's been around forever. The Skeksis give her a mechanical looking glass.
It's a mechanical galaxy that changes with the way the planets change also. So it's like showing you how the planets are rotating.
They just distract her for
it's just a
hundreds of
distractor.
years.
Yeah.
She's so into
while
it.
they suck the life out of the crystal. They're just like, yeah. And then you have Gurjin, who's BFFs with Brienne.
I'm already lost.
And then you have there's only a couple. And then you have Hupp, who is the potline Deet's BFF. And then the Skeksis, the main ones are, you have the Emperor, who rules all the Skeksis. You have Chamberlain, who is a little bit of a
asshole.
He likes things to go his way, and so he's gonna make sure they do go his way. And then you have the general, the guy who leads the attacks, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Military advice. That's him. The scientist, who is played by Mark Hamill. He plays a scientist. He figures out how to take the life from the Gelfling so that they can live forever.
Yes, because the crystal stops giving power, so they have to drain the essence of the Gelfling and then drink it, and then they're like immortality.
Ooh, they get real strong.
There can be only one.
And then you have the Hunter, who is the Skeksis. That's after Brienne.
And then you have several random Skeksis.
There's a lot of Skeksis. And then the Heretic, obviously, the other Skeksis that we talked about.
Yes.
And then there's 2 Mystics. So the Mystics are from the Skeksis. Now, I'm going to go a little geek out on you.
Let's go more further into this plot.
So when the Skeksis landed on Thra, they were actually one being. And when they took the life from the crystal, they split into 2 beings, the Mystics and the Skeksis.
Yes.
So the Mystics, they have a mystic version of the Skeksis.
Yes.
So the Hunter...
The Mystics have, like, the emotion.
Right.
And the
Skeksis
are all just, like, id.
Yeah.
And, ego. So there's the difference.
Right. So the Hunter, its other version is the Archer. The Mystic. And then the Heretic, its other version, is the Wanderer. Andy Samberg, other version, Bill Hader.
Bill Hader, yeah. 2 sides of the same coin.
Exactly. So that's the plot and all the characters. It's a very intricate plot. It's not easy to describe. But I find it very interesting. I think they did a really good job with the prequel. Like, it definitely gives you more information than the movie. For sure.
It took 10 episodes of this to really set up the movie from...
I mean, really, yes.
So, I mean, the movie's hard to follow as a kid.
The movie's a little hard to follow. I feel like it's more for, like, a young adult. It's not really for kids. Kids can watch Labyrinth because it's funny and there's fart noises, you know. This is a little more serious, Dark Crystal.
And there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. There's really great CGI and puppetry happening.
It looks good. It looks really good.
It looks fantastic.
My favorite, well, I don't want to get too far ahead as far as favorite episodes, but one of my favorite scenes is whenever the Wanderer and the Heretic do the puppet show. So it's
a puppet within a
doing
puppet.
Puppetry.
My husband said that's so meta.
It's like Inception for puppets. But yeah, it was all great. The puppetry was really great. The CGI blended really well, I think.
The action scenes were fantastic. Like, they blocked those out beautifully. Like, if you're a fan of action, like, it has some really good action scenes. The movie doesn't have as much action as the TV show.
They can do a lot more now with CGI and with just technology than they could back then.
It looks really good. Like, overall, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, 10 times better than any puppetry thing I've ever seen.
True that.
They did a great job. I love all of the character voices. Like, if you go on IMDb,
it's crazy.
The amount of actors. It's a lot of British people are in it. So if you're a fan of, like, British shows,
pretty much everybody who has a speaking part of a main character, you will recognize when you see them on IMDb.
Yeah.
Everybody.
It's a lot of people. I mean, my favorite is Simon Pegg as Chamberlain.
He does a great job, and you can't tell it's him at all.
If you watch the movie and you watch the show, you're like, "Did that the same voice?"
I know. I think they tweaked it a bit. I don't know.
They might have,
but he did a good job.
And also, Mark Hamill's fantastic.
Although I will say, I have a little bit of an issue with Mark Hamill's voice as.
Oh, brother.
No, it just changed throughout. Like sometimes he was literally full on Joker from the animated series. And the other times it didn't sound that
Maybe
much.
he just like he has Joker instilled in him.
It could be instinctual.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind. I'm just saying that was it was a little inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
At times.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting the Joker voice, and then every once in a while it would drop down an octave.
Right.
Not be as high, and just kind of like...
He's an emotional thing,
Yeah,
He's got lots of emotions.
He lost an eyeball to a paper beetle.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll give him a pass.
Do you have any favorite parts of the show?
The whole episode 7.
Episode 7 was fantastic.
It was my favorite episode by far. I mean, I liked a lot of the elements of the show, but that episode's the only one that stuck out to me as like when they explained that they came down as one being, and then they split, and they did the puppet show, and how funny those two were together. Right. To me, that was my favorite episode. Favorite parts, I mean, the battles were cool.
The battles were awesome. I really liked when all 3 of the Gelfling got together and they had to go on the journey. Mm-hmm. Like, once they started their journey.
What, about 4 episodes? 3 or 4 episodes in, they kind of got,
I mean, honestly, like, every episode was nice. It set up each episode, and I wasn't, like, waiting around and being like, all right, what's the next episode? Like, it moved very well.
Yes.
It was very...
But any other favorite parts? Like, what was the one that just like blew your mind? Besides the puppets doing puppetry, that blew my mind. If I was smoking weed, I would have been. You would have been. I wouldn't know what to do.
I don't know. I liked everything about this show. What I like is that it makes like a new generation appreciate the art of puppetry and like the art of storytelling that's not involved like just with human beings. Like it brings life into the movie.
And it's live action with no people.
With no people.
Where the original was the first movie to ever do that.
Right.
This is all live action, but there's not a single person in it in the whole movie, which is or a human character, I guess.
Right.
Which is interesting. I will say that it was very enjoyable watching, and the setup. I got into it a lot more than I got into the movie. The original movie.
Right.
Like, it really drew me in a little more.
I think like, if you didn't like the movie, you should watch this because it, like...
Yeah, I think now I'd be more interested
like,
in the movie again. Yeah. I'll probably be disappointed because the technology's not the same.
It's not.
It's not the same.
No. Well, it's like half the same.
Spoiler, not the same.
I mean, the puppetry is the same.
But as far as being like a fantasy realm or world and the story... It was very, it really drew you in. It was encompassing, and the visuals really helped do that. So yeah, that was well done.
I mean, like the entire time, the only thing I cared about was like, who's Jen's parents? Because like in the Dark Crystal, Jen is orphaned to the Mystics, and so you don't know his parents. And so I'm watching the entire time. I was like, is it them two?
Is it them?
Wait, is it them two? Like who's Jen's parents? So that literally distracted me sometimes.
The entire time.
Yeah. I'd be like, who is it?
Well, that's like the whole time. I'm like, where do they get the shard? How do they get the shard?
Right.
Where does that come from?
Where does that go?
Yeah. So then you finally find out.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's like right from the beginning when Sigourney Weaver's like doing the narration, and like you're like, okay, who are these people? Great. And then you're like, but what about the Mystics? You didn't say anything about the Mystics. And then it gets there later. Like you want them to just tell you everything, but they do a good job of like, here's a little info. Here's a little info. Because it is hard. If they spewed it all at once, it would be hard to intake.
It was a little hard even the way they did it. Like when they start, like all the Gelflings kind of look alike. They talk about there being 7 different tribes. You only hear about 4 of them at the beginning, and they're going back and forth. I'm assuming if they do a season 2, that's where it's going to go. Yeah. Is the Mystics. It'll be, where you will go with that. And in the movie, how many Gelflings are left? Isn't it like...
There's not that. It's only 2.
So there's got to be a lot that happens between those two. So there's definitely room for a sequel.
I mean, you see Brea running in a forest with a baby. So I'm assuming Brea is the mom of either Jen or Kira from the film. So any more favorite episodes? I really enjoyed when Rand gets to his tribe in episode 3. Yeah. And they're like... He's like, I didn't kill Mira. The Skeksis killed Mira. And they're like, you're wrong. The Skeksis are all...
A lot of betrayal and like...
There's a lot of betrayal going on.
Family betrayal in this show.
So I really enjoyed... I liked seeing the other Gelfling tribes, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I wanted more of, like, seeing the aspects of them. It was cool to see how different they were. But that's interesting also. It's
a very intricate show. If you like complicated storytelling... You will like this.
You'll like this.
Yeah. Or if you have a significant other that likes it and that will tell you, simplify it for you, you should watch it together.
There you go.
Because I had to do that with my husband. He
Okay.
was very into it, but like...
He's like, I don't know what's going on.
He was like totally into it, and he'd be like, wait, I have a question, so I have to pause it and like answer his question. But we do that during Game of Thrones also, so it's not like, you know.
I can see that.
I'm the keeper of the story, and I explain it to him. So
Okay. Well, who's your favorite your favorite voice actor who didn't have a main part? Any of them that really stuck out to you besides Mark Hamill? Mine was Eddie Izzard. Yes.
I was waiting for you. No, it was literally Mark Hamill and then like Chamberlain. I was like, who does Chamberlain? And I saw Simon Pegg does Chamberlain. But I literally knew all the other voices listening. The only other one that surprised me was Lena Headey.
Oh yeah, from Game of Thrones.
She plays the Mara for Rand's tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, oh, that's her. Oh snap. Like
and then the other one from Game of Thrones who played the main Queen of Dragons handmaid did the voice of.
Oh yeah, Deet.
Yeah, she did the voice of Deet.
Yes.
I will say,
Mm-hmm.
Rianne.
Mm-hmm.
He was a horn dog, man.
Look,
He kept staring at every one of those. I was like, your girlfriend just died. Now you're trying to get on with both of the other girlfriends.
First of all,
that's a little creepy.
He wasn't trying to get with anyone. He's just like, he's just lost. He doesn't know what's happening.
He was staring pretty hard at one point.
His dad doesn't like him. The only person that liked him is now dead.
You can't fix him, Amanda. Just let it go.
You leave Brienne alone.
He just seemed to like every female. He'd be like, hey, how you doing?
Well, he's not going to get with Deet because Deet's going to explode.
He tried to.
He didn't try to get with Deet. He was just like, he appreciated her
longingly
for who
holding
she
her
was,
hand.
even though everyone didn't thought she was weird.
Okay.
He appreciated her. Adam.
And he was staring at Bria pretty hard when they were up in this. I just thought it was interesting.
Maybe you just want him to get with everybody.
I don't. I'm like, come on, stay focused on the task at hand.
Maybe he's a teenager. You don't know.
He could be. Yeah, I guess that's right.
Teens
he just
are
can't control
horny.
himself all the time. All the time. And watching your girlfriend just implode from having essence suck out of her did nothing for that.
Nothing
He's
for
like,
that,
fine, move on to the next one.
Mm-hmm. Life is short.
'Tis true.
You probably don't live that long. Bingeability for it. What you got?
I'm going 4.
Okay.
A solid 4.
That's pretty good.
Not super high, but
I gave it a 5. I really liked it.
Mm-hmm. I knew that was coming. No, at certain points I'm like, okay, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
And it keeps going.
It does.
But I still wanted to watch it.
Right.
I just wasn't like compelled to continuously watch.
Right.
But if I was a fan of the film at all, it would have been a 5, I'm sure. I think if any other movie that I really enjoyed or watched as a kid, if they made a whole series out of it, I'd be on board right now. So, but a 4 for me.
Okay. That's not bad. Pretty decent.
I'm not apologizing about that.
I didn't say you had to. Jeez. So that leads us into our last segment, Who Would Win? Where I pit people against each other. Mainly like the same actor for like...
Different roles?
Different roles.
Okay.
So who would win? I picked Mark Hamill.
All right.
Would his voice of the Skeksis scientist beat his voice for Joker? Like if you put Joker and the Skeksis together.
Oh, Joker would dominate all of them. They're all very dumb.
But the scientist is the smartest one.
And he's dumb.
He's not that dumb.
He got fooled so many times.
He created a zombie.
Yeah, but he didn't really create that.
He did.
No, he put a puppet rig on it, and then it came back to
Okay.
life. No, I think a Joker, hands down.
Hands down?
He'd be 3 steps ahead.
No. I would give it a good battle.
No, not even close.
What?
He would watch the whole thing burn from the inside.
First of all, the Joker's just a human, and the Skeksis like an alien creature guy. He's definitely taller than Joker, okay?
Oh, yeah, he's huge.
Yeah. So, he would give it a college try, man.
He'd give it a college try, but the Joker...
Maybe.
He's the greatest criminal of all time. He can't beat a couple Skeksis. Come on.
You don't know.
They got a couple of them got stabbed by Gelflings. I think the Joker has a strong chance of...
Yeah, but if the Joker got stabbed, he doesn't have any Gelfling soul to suck out to make him stronger. Whereas the Skeksis do.
True.
So, maybe the Joker would win, but Skeksis would give him a college try.
Maybe he was going up against Hunter, but not the scientist.
I guess.
They wouldn't even let him fight. They wouldn't even let the scientist fight in the battle.
Exactly. He wanted to fight.
Yeah, but he's not good at it.
Whatever.
Okay.
Did you have a who would win?
Oh, I just think it'd be interesting to see the puppets of Sesame Street take on the puppets of Dark Crystal. So a good, like, Oscar the Grouch.
Oscar the Grouch versus a Gelfling?
No,
or
you gotta
Skeksis.
go to Skeksis. We'll go...
There's no way.
He only has hands, I guess. No feet, right?
Maybe Big Bird against the Skeksis. I'd be like, okay.
Okay, yeah.
I could see that.
They kind of look the same.
Snuffleupagus?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Snuffa?
They could ride him.
They could ride Snuffleupagus?
Yeah. Elmo would be like a Gelfling. He's riding Snuffleupagus.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah. Who would win? Elmo? Okay.
Elmo's like a good leader, but...
Elmo or Hup?
Elmo or Hup? Hup, all the way.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
He wants to be a paladin. So.
He does. That's right. He'd hit him with that spoon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Elmo would be like, no fighting. And Hup would be like,
Elmo says no. Okay. I got that. I agree there.
Yeah. Hup all the way.
But not Cookie Monster. Cookie Monster would destroy.
I mean, if you told Cookie Monster that Hup was made entirely of cookies,
He'd be
that
gone.
shit, that'd be some interesting shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just say.
Now that I'm really depressed thinking about that now.
Cookie Monster eating its own kind. Whamp, whamp.
Mm-hmm.
So, Adam, what are we watching next week for our TV shows from movies?
We're going to continue with What We Do in the Shadows.
Woo!
A great film. I can't wait for the series.
The film is hilarious. It's by Taika Waititi. Waititi. Nobody knows how to pronounce his name.
The guy who did Thor Ragnarok, you know.
Yeah, that guy. And then Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords.
Mm-hmm.
They created this movie.
But they're not in the movie.
No,
or in the
but they
TV
did
show.
create the TV show.
Yes, they created the TV show, but they're not starring in it.
No. They have other people started.
I've heard great things.
It looks hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the movie's hilarious. I can't even imagine what the TV show is going to be.
I'm stoked.
It's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait. Thank you guys for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share. If you want to leave us a comment about how you're not going to watch Dark Crystal because it's just too complicated and boring, you can leave it, I guess. Whatever. Or if you agree that Dark Crystals is fantastic, you can write that in too.
Let us know how many times you had to pause it to figure out what's going on.
You're like, wait, what?
Who is that? Let me Google that.
Huh? What's going on?
Or how do I know that voice? Let me IMDb that to see who that person is.
If you IMDb the entire show, please let us know while you were watching it.
Mm-hmm.
You were just constantly on your phone because you couldn't figure out what was happening. That'd be great.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know. Thank you guys, and we'll see you bingers next week.
Bye.